Cheese, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Camembert. Its never-ending mission to explore strange new cheeses, to seek out dairy delights and new flavours, and to boldly go where no cheesemaker has gone before.
Well, welcome to Quark's Bar. Well, it's not really Quark's Bar, it's just Quark cheese. So for those who don't know, Quark is a Northern European dish, Germanic in origin and from the Baltic states as well. It is a very simple cheese, very similar to yogurt. I may have drained this a little bit too long. Oh no, it's very creamy. Here we go. This is similar consistency to thick yogurt and very simple to make. Now it's used in many dishes and straight on fruit and berries for breakfast in Germany. It is a very simple little cheese to make. The difference between Quark and yogurt is that yogurt uses thermophilic cultures and a thermophilic culture called Lactobacillus lactis bulgaris, which is a high acidifier, and this does not. So this has your simple two mesophilic cultures in it, Lactobacillus lactis subspecies cremoris and Lactobacillus lactis subspecies lactis. They're the two bacteria that were introduced into the milk, and they result in a not so sharp creamy cheese. So let me show you how I made Quark, named after Quark's Bar, obviously, in Star Trek.
So the ingredients for this cheese is 1 litre or 1 quart of whole cow's milk, 1/8 of a teaspoon of mesophilic starter culture, 1/8 of a teaspoon or 0.75 millilitres of calcium chloride diluted in 1/4 cup of non-chlorinated water, 3 drops of single strength liquid rennet diluted in 1/4 cup of non-chlorinated water. So turn the heat on and start to heat your milk up. I directly heated it on the stove and just gave it a stir and checked the temperature to make sure it didn't run away from me. So heat your milk up to 25 degrees Celsius or 77 Fahrenheit. So add your starter culture. I'm using the Mad Millie sachet of, it's a mesophilic culture, I think it's just called cheese culture. So remove the spoon from the pot, because you don't want to get culture all over that, of course. And then sprinkle the culture all over the surface of the milk. Make sure you get it all out. Now you don't need to rehydrate it, just give it a good stir. And add your calcium chloride, give that a good stir. And then add your rennet solution. And stir that for no longer than 1 minute. Doesn't really matter at this stage, but yeah, don't overstir it once you put the rennet in. Now just take that off of the burner, and I'm going to pour the milk now into my thermos jar. So pour as much as you can into the jar, and this is how we're going to keep it warm during the ripening period or setting period for this cheese. So I put as much as I dare in to the jar, then screw the lid on tightly. And then I placed a little warm water from the tap in the bottom of the thermos. Not too hot, just lukewarm. Then I popped the jar into the thermos. It's just a double insulated stainless steel thermos. We sell them on our website. And then place the jar into the thermos and leave it for 16 hours to set. So 16 hours later, just take the jar out of the thermos and we're going to pour it into a butter muslin lined colander. And it was fairly solid, as you can see there. So now we're going to hang the cheese up to let it drain. So tie opposite corners into a bag. And then there's not much of it in there, so I simply decided to hang it over a pot. So I'm going to find a wooden spoon, stick it through the bag, and then put it in my largest pot. Hang that there for about 4 to 5 hours.
So this is the quark that I made earlier, and thanks for coming along on my little trek in the stars. It's been a pleasure having you here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn the quark out of the bag and put it into a bowl, give it a little quick sneaky taste test, and then we're going to use it on whatever we're going to use it on. Anyway, with clean hands, I'm just getting the bag. And you can see I used a big pot this time instead of hanging on the cupboard. Because it was so small, I thought, well, there's no point really, so I just used the bag. So I've also got another bowl there and a spatula, silicon spatula. Without getting it in any way. There we go, I think I've got it now. Rightio. So let's get this out of the way. Get my little bowl. And the beauty of only using a litre of milk with this recipe is that you don't get very much. If you want to double it, that's fine. Just double everything in the recipe and you'll get twice as much. There we go. Just a little bit to get out, not much on the cloth. Not a lot, there we go. That is it. So there you have it, very simple little cheese to make. More of a condiment than a cheese. Oh no, it's a cheese. It's a cheese. I used starter culture, I used milk, and I used a few little drops of rennet, as you saw in the ingredients. So what does it taste like? Well, let me just try. I've just mixed it up, and it is the consistency of yogurt, thick Greek yogurt. Now, if I had hung it a little bit less, I hung it for 5 hours. If I had hung it for, say, 4 hours, probably a little bit more whey in there. I could introduce a little bit more whey back in, actually. Hang on. Do I have any in my pot? Let's see what happens. There we go, there's a little bit of the whey. Everything nice and clean. Just stir that. Oh, there you go, that's a better consistency. That's a bit more runnier. So that's more like natural yogurt. Perfect. And there's no harm with adding some of the whey back in if you think you've overstrained it. Anyway, what's it taste like? Well, I'm not wanting to contaminate that lot there. Let me get another spoon. Here we go. Now, I've been told it's creamy and not as tangy as yogurt, so let's try this. It's a little tart, but certainly not tangy. Yeah, more on the creamy side. Similar to a not so sharp sour cream, if that makes sense. That's very nice. That'll go lovely with sweet things. It's low in fat because all you've used is just normal 4% milk or standardized 3% milk. There's no added cream to it. There's no salt to it. So you've got to use it fairly quickly, within at least, I would say, between 5 and 7 days. I wouldn't have it any longer than that, especially if you're using raw milk. It'll just keep acidifying and acidifying, and it'll get tangier and tangier. But as it stands, nice little cheese, very simple to make. I can see why the Germans and the Scandinavian countries and some parts of Eastern Europe are in love with this lovely little cheese. It also goes by the name of Quark as well as Quark. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that little Star Trek intro. It was just something different. I thought Quark. There were so many people when I put a comment up on the community tab about the cheeses I was making this week that there was quite a few little references to Quark at Quark's Bar on Deep Space Nine. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the little homage to Star Trek. Well, thanks for watching, Curd Nerds. As always, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already and aren't getting notified of cheesy content, then go and hit that subscribe button and ring the little bell to get notified of all future videos. Well, if you want to make this cheese, then I would highly recommend the soft cheese kit or the fresh cheese kit. Either of those two kits in our range will work perfectly for Quark. Well, thanks for watching, Curd Nerds. Live long and prosper.